a different context. Am I correct to say that in your submission in this committee, you said that you have never met directly with Paul O'Sullivan?
I've never said that.
You never said that?
I've never said that.
Okay, I remember you saying, I know him very well.
Yes.
So knowing him very well means also you have met with him at some point?
I've met with him many times.
No, I wanted to be sure because I was not, I might have missed that. Now, the November meeting that we are talking about, where the minister raised certain concerns about, I think, various task teams, but particularly about the PKTT. You make references to that meeting of November. Now, let me tell you what is of my particular interest about it. Why did you choose to exclude that important information from your sworn-in statement? Because in that November meeting, in terms of your argument here, you are telling the people of South Africa that it's not fair for the National Commissioner to say he did not anticipate the disbandment of the PKTT because that was mentioned in the November meeting. And that's a crucial evidence in my own view. Why did you choose consciously to exclude that in the sworn-in statements you have provided to us?
I need to see that November meeting, Chair, because I'm a little bit lost.
Okay, let me remind you.
Yeah.
You made reference to the fact that there was a meeting around 26 or 27 November, whose minutes you do not have because you were denied access. And at that meeting, a discussion took place about various task teams, but I want to draw your attention to the issue of the PKTT. And the minister is said to have raised some observations about the PKTT on that meeting. Now, as you know, the serious contention on the part of the National Commissioner, your boss, is that I was never aware that there was any major discomfort which can result in such a drastic decision being taken and communicated on the 31st of December. Now, you are saying, no, but in that November meeting, he even said to the National Commissioner, well, these are task teams, and task teams by their very own nature are not expected to last forever. So that's the November meeting I'm talking about. Now, I'm saying to you, it would seem to me that is a very crucial meeting.
Yes.
But why did you choose to exclude it from your sworn-in statement?
We didn't choose to exclude it because this is a statement that was contained in the minutes of the meeting that was discussed. And we requested with the legal team to have access. Even I think we requested through the evidence leader, if I'm sure that we be assisted with the minutes from the South African Police Service, and we were not favored with such minutes.
General, let me explain what do I mean by exclusion. We've got these two big batches from you. These ones. Your own sworn-in statement you gave us. You make references to many things correctly, and we have no problem with that.
Yes.
But you are not even mentioning the fact that on your sworn statement, by the way, there is a November meeting whose minutes I have been denied. But I want to make the South African people to know that those minutes which were denied, I was denied access to, actually will confirm once they are made available that the National Commissioner was aware that we are gravitating towards a decision taken on the 31st. Why did you choose not to mention that in your sworn-in affidavit?
Whilst I understand, Chair, remember that the statement is made by the evidence leader in consultation with my legal team. I'm there as well. They consult with me and then going to and pro. We're preparing a statement. So if it's an oversight, it could be that it's an oversight. But what I know and what I'm sure about is the fact that we did request the copies of such minutes.
Okay. Let me say, I'm asking that question because I'm saying it's a crucial information and it's excluded and it's not. In fact, my own suspicion now is that if the line of questioning did not force you to talk about that meeting, we're never going to know about it. That's my own conclusion. You don't have to answer that. If the line of questioning, and I'm saying that worries me because that is a profoundly important meeting, because even if you don't have the minutes, but the proceedings of that meeting in terms of your contention are nullifying the argument of the National Commissioner to say, I was blind. I was blank, not blind. I was blank, I had no information and no knowledge. But let's leave that issue there, General. I want to take you to your sworn statement, paragraph 85. In that paragraph 85 in your statement, I'm going to refer to two documents that I'm sure you recall very quickly. If you read that paragraph 85 and you read it together with 3.5.1a of the big bundle, what I call the big bundle would be, in our case, this one. I don't know on your side, how is it organized? But in that, in the two, you are saying something that left me with a question about who constitutes the office of the National Commissioner? Who constitutes that office? I don't think if are you able to get to 85? 85, let me read it for you. It says, is this one on your sworn statement?
I'm trying to get the...
You're trying to get there, okay. I was asking that you read that paragraph 85 with 3.5.1a of the big bundle, which will be page 62 for honorable members here.
Paragraph 80, I'm on page 27, Chair, and the paragraph.
Yes, you read that paragraph. If you understand that paragraph together with the one that is on 3.5.1a, dockets allocated to various investigations.
Paragraph custody and or control of dockets in general.
Yes, and then paragraph 85 there, and then you read it together with paragraph 3.5.1 of the big, what I call the big bundle, which is the additional bundle. The page is 62 for you colleagues of this one, page 62. So my question there, what constitutes the office of the National Commissioner, or who constitutes it, and who constitutes your office? At what point does your office and that of the National Commissioner get separated as his deputy?
We are in the National Commissioner's office as the deputy.
You are in his office?
Yeah. We are his deputies. We fall under corporate. That is the office of the National Commissioner.
So you are part of his office?
Yes.
Okay. I'm happy with that answer. I'll tell you why that answer is important when I come back to it. Now, if you look at paragraph 94 of the same document, your sworn statement, paragraph 94 of your sworn statement, that paragraph there, the two divisional commissioners who reported to me, crime intelligence and detective and forensic, the dockets has to go where they needed to, where they are needed or they needed to be investigated. You see that paragraph?
Yes.
Now my question is, you are then making a point there that I think you are referring to Lieutenant General Ntuli. You are saying She is the one who, on my directive, was supposed to continue with the investigation of the dockets. And I suppose you're referring to the PKTT dockets.
Yes.
How were you expecting he or her to investigate all of those dockets alone?
No, it doesn't mean that she's supposed to investigate the dockets alone. She's a divisional commissioner. Now, all these dockets will fall under her. In other words, as a divisional commissioner, she's got different component heads. The relevant component is the one that deals with serious and violent crime, which is General Motsepe. So General Ntuli, from divisional crime intelligence to divisional commissioner detective service.
Okay.
She's the one who must accept them. Then from there, send them over to General Motsepe to take forward.
So she's under your command?
Yes.
All right. And then in paragraph 102, you are responding to General Mkhwana's there. You are saying this is not true. The documents were not in my office. That's about the dockets. I'm sure you remember that. Yes. The documents were not in my office.
Yes.
Now, let me just check. Who kept the document? And to whom does that person directly report to at SAPS?
I'm told that the dockets were in Brigadier Khopoditata's office, who report to General Motsepe. General Motsepe will report to General Ntuli.
And General Ntuli reporting to whom?
Me.
So basically the docket were in your office?
Not in my office.
No, okay, when I say the office, I understand the office not to be a building. I'm the chief whip of the ANC, I've got the deputy chief whip. When I talk about my office, it's the office where it's me, the deputy chief whip, and everybody who's in that caucus office.
In that sense, I will accept, Chair.
So the dockets were kept in your office. It not physically where you work, but in your office. So they were under your office.
Yes, Chair.
Okay. And then in paragraph 103, General Motsepe refused to carry the directive of the National Commissioner. You said, where does that general report to?
General Ntuli.
Now, where does, is she?
It's a she.
In your own view, given what you have told us about how police work on command and control, directive, authority, and seniority, where do you think General Motsepe got the courage to refuse the directive of the National Commissioner when he said to her, allow them to take photos of the docket?
Well, I think at this present moment, maybe she is something that she can come and explain herself, but safe to say that we all believe that these dockets, because General Mkhwanazi already spoke to the nation and said the dockets are sitting here gathering dust when in fact they were not worked on, and that now they want to come. We were suspecting that in fact they want to come and add some of the things. They already told the nation that some of the dockets were already at an arresting stage when they were not. So it was a question of, okay, what needs to happen here now? Can we get it in writing that says we want to do 1, 2, 3, 4? So that, and this is how the discussions went with General Motsepe, that no, let it be in writing so that at least we are all covered, we are all protected.
Okay, so that comes to the earlier point you made when you were responding to one of my colleagues, that you only carry out even from your boss, you can only carry out a written instruction.
Lawful instruction.
What is unlawful about the commissioner saying to somebody very junior, far below down, please allow them to come and take photos?
There was nothing unlawful, but the problem is it had the risk of when General Mkhwanazi went out there and said, we took the dockets are in my office gathering dust, and that some of the dockets were at the stage of arresting, when in fact he made a press briefing on information that he did not have. Now later he wants to come and either, I don't know, to inspect or to do that after effect. So to as far as I'm concerned, the This is what she says she did.
Okay.
No,
You know why I'm asking?
No, Chief Whip.
Okay.
The question has not been answered. Did you hear the question, General?
I did.
You said that the instruction of your senior, General Masemola, was not unlawful. And the Chief Whip wants to know, and this emanates from the earlier statement that you made. And then the Chief Whip wants to know, if it was not unlawful, why was it not carried out? Because you say you hit two instructions to the extent that they are not unlawful. And then he came back and said, was the instruction unlawful? You said no. And then he followed up to say, given your commitment to execute lawful instructions, here is an instruction that you yourself say was not unlawful. Why was it not carried out?
Because, Chair, firstly, this was a situation where General Mkhwanazi is calling and saying, I'm sending 10 people there to come and inspect those dockets. And we're saying, but now you want to take the dockets that you rejected, and that after you tell the nation that we took the dockets, and the dockets are gathering that's in my office and in General Sibiya's office, and some of the dockets were nearing an arrest stage with warrant of arrest already inside, and say, but now they are going to tamper with the dockets again. So let them not have access to those dockets, at least at that point in time. Then that's when the National Commissioner called General Motsepe, and General Motsepe said, no, General, they already made a press conference, and the commission has now been established. Let this thing be dealt with in terms of the commission then. That is what happened, Honorable Chair.
You will understand a bit later why I'm raising this question. Because in my view, it's a bit strange that a junior person like General Motsepe will respond to the National Commissioner in a way that you are saying she did. Now, we are talking about her through you because you are telling us. And in your answer, you are, okay, maybe let me ask the question before I can explain why I think you are insinuating something, and I will explain when I come to the next question. Was it completely impossible in your own view? Was it completely impossible to mitigate the possibility of tampering if they come and take the photos on the side of General Motsepe and her team?
I was already on suspension myself, on stay at home. So I had no access to that. And as far as I'm concerned, in all fairness, General Mkhwanazi made a press briefing.
General, with due respect, you have been a policeman for 37 years. I don't want to know whether you were there or not there. I'm asking. You gave us this information about General Motsepe. We're not going to ask about it. You gave us. All I'm asking, given your own experience and knowledge as our dictative in chief in this country, was it absolutely impossible for somebody in the position of General Motsepe to mitigate the possibility of tampering if these people, the 10 people who were coming in to take the photos?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
Yeah, I'm not sure what was the circumstances and the situation in terms of the people coming, 10 people to come in.
Okay. What would you say to somebody who says, no, 10 people are coming to take photos, if we have to guard against them manipulating this document, we'll put 10 others there to watch them. And somebody said, you know why that did not happen? It's because the defiance of General Motsepe was occasioned by the fact that she belongs to this other faction, which is suspicious of the National Commissioner because it's aligned to General Sibiya. What would you say to somebody who say that?
I don't think General Motsepe belongs to any faction. She was with the Docket.
But the first among equals in the police tell her what to do. She doesn't do it. And she reports in the line that belongs to your division. I'm saying, then somebody sits somewhere in South Africa and say, where does this general get such a courage? Okay, let me conclude that because it's quite clear that in the evidence we're listening, there is a group, you are even giving them a provincial identification, KZN. It's a KZN group. Konazi and their group.
Team.
And then Masemula joins that group at some point because, I suppose, not because from KZN, but for factional reasons. If we were to accept that logic, if a South African citizen who's listening accept that logic, and therefore says, but here is a very junior general who refused to carry an instruction of the first among equal in the command and control of the South African Police Service. Is that person not acting because she belongs to another group, which is not only suspicious of the group of the NC, but equally protecting its own domain because it is under General Sibiya? So you think the South African who think like that will be unfortunate or unwell or something like what's your brief comment on that?
My brief comment is that, quite honestly speaking, Chair, I don't believe that General Motsepe believes to a faction, but I'm very much concerned that something very wrong happened where there's a press conference and a statement is made, and the dockets apparently are in my office gathering dust, when those dockets were in fact taken to KZN and he rejected it. Now, in all honest fact, I'm looking at a situation where General Mkhwanazi is doing everything wrong, and it seems like all the facts are favoring General Mkhwanazi because everybody who's trying to say, but let us preserve the evidence of this one, is also wrong in doing that.
Chief Whip, before you proceed, let me take Honorable Shongwa.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I just want to keep this on record. When Honorable Skosana says the general is not answering consistency on his answers, I asked this question, if you remember, and his two replies was, I won't speak for General Motsepe. She will come, she's going to have to come for herself and reply on this issue. And now when he's answering with Chief Whip, he's all over the place. So I think General Awilung is, thank you.
Yeah. But you know what you must do? What you did previously, you must say Indaba.
Ndaba Komet.
Thank you. Skosana, Honorable Skosana.
Chair, I think let me leave the Chief Whip to finish the floor. Thank you.
Okay, Chief Whip.
All right. You are the most senior custodian of all dockets. The most senior custodian of all dockets. You stayed with the dockets in your office under people who report to you for 4 months. No work was done on them. Now we know that no work was done on them because that was presented here and we've never rebutted it. But Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi argues that actually 5 of the dockets were ready for arrest. And then he contended that soon after the documents were released back to KZN, some arrests took place. Do you know if the arrests that are said to have taken place immediately when dockets went back to KZN were arrests related to the same dockets?
I was not in the police yet at that time, but as far as I'm concerned, what I was told is not the same docket.
No, General. You had the dockets for 4 months. Okay, maybe it's me who's wrong. I'm laboring under the assumption that now dockets are back in KZN. Am I wrong or right?
Correct.
They are back in KZN.
Correct.
Are you aware or not aware of the information that immediately upon the arrival of dockets in KZN, some arrests were effected? And my question is, if there were arrests effected, immediately when they got back, 2 months or a month ago, you were there. You were there in South Africa. If that happened, are you aware if those arrests were arrests that are emanating from the same dockets that were with the head office?
I wouldn't know in the set of KZN, but what I know in the list that we have, we don't have dockets that were like really ready to arrest now. You will have 1 or 2 where maybe 3 where they were to go and arrest the suspects. But if the J50 warrant of arrest was not signed, which means at this point in time, they could not arrest unless the J50 is signed. So I'm not aware because I was not in the system at that time.
Okay. Do you know if there is an existence of a syndicate that is operating in Gauteng?
There are many syndicates that are operating in Gauteng.
Okay. Syndicates and cartel, are they the same or not the same?
They are not the same in a sense that the cartel is a group of people that are operating and also that mostly also even control and determine what happens in government and other areas. And then syndicate is just a syndicate that is operating in crime.
Okay. Yesterday you gave evidence that the Big Five is a non-existent entity. Is it your own submission to us and the people of South Africa that the head of crime intelligence, Lieutenant General Khumalo, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, and the National Commissioner are essentially misleading the country when in their various submissions, they make reference to the existence of the Group 5?
Chair,
a Big Five, a group of Big Five, yeah.
Chair, I have a document of the syndicate that was compiled by both organized crime and criminal crime intelligence. And the document that I have that was presented by crime intelligence does not have the Big Five.
Are you aware that some of them, maybe not all of them, but also made another presentation before the minister? They are said to have made a presentation to the Minister of Police. And part of that presentation apparently implicated you. Are you aware of that?
If they say it implicated me, in the one that I have that was made by them in my presence, it didn't implicate me. And if there is such that implicates me, I'm quite sure and I'm quite confident that I'm not involved in drugs, and I give them a go ahead to really arrest me if I do. I'm involved in drugs.
My question is that, are you aware that they had a meeting with the Minister of Police in which they gave a report, part of which implicated you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you made a submission that General Mkhwanazi, Lieutenant General, sorry.
So sorry to interrupt you, Chief Whip. The General just said he's aware of that report. Where does he get that information from? Would he have been briefed by the Minister, briefed by the generals, or just heard it in these proceedings?
The National Commissioner, in one of the presentations or statement or where he spoke about the fact that he was talking here in this house that there was a meeting where he went and he briefed the Minister and he told the Minister about that.
No problems, okay. Now I want to go to, but you don't have to go there. I will explain what is in the context of my question. The paragraph 81 and 83 of your sworn-in statement, where you talk about Matala. You say there, and I quote, "I know Matala as a service provider at SAPS." That's in paragraph 81. Then in paragraph 83, you say that, and I quote, "I didn't know Matala before the meeting at my office." Now, you have been telling this committee, General, that Matala is a well-known person within the South African Police Service. If I read this too, I know Matala is a service provider. And then the next paragraph, "I didn't know Matala before the meeting at my office." And in your submission here, Matala is a well-known person within the South African Police. Does the well-known, the knowledge of Matala, the knowledge about Matala within SAPS, before his meeting with you on the day when he was coming to complain about the tender, does that knowledge of all others exclude you, and why? Well, why are you the only one who's excluded in that knowledge?
I didn't know Matala. I didn't know Matala from the onset or from the beginning. I didn't know him up until the day I met him in the office. And thereafter, I met him at the college, and I've met him several times. Like I'm saying, I indicated. Now, he is the kind of a person who is well known because he's a person who's been operating in Gauteng. When I look at the whole history of Matala and the other colleagues that know him, you will see that he's a well-known person.
Okay, let me just explain why I'm asking this question. You are saying in paragraph 81, "I know Matala." You are saying in paragraph 83, "I didn't know Matala until I met him in my office." But you seem to know that you actually know, not seem to know. You have told us, you know, when for sure, that actually Matala is well known within SAPS. Now tell me, General, does Matala become well known in SAPS in terms of your knowledge after he has met you, or he was well known even before he has met you? If he was well known even before he has met you, how did it exclude you among those who know Matala?
Remember, Chair, that I was out of the police. And as a result, I was working for the city of Joburg. After I came back into the police, I was a component head of organized crime. I didn't know him still. But at the time I was acting as a national commissioner, after I think the 1st of July 2023, now when I was now the acting national commissioner, at that point, that's when I got to know Matala. Now, thereafter going forward, you know that, he knows that one, he knows this one, he knows this one, he knows that one. So I realized that he's known.
So you got to know about his knowledge of almost everybody in the institution after he has met you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, General, so you meet Matala, he explains his problem, he's accompanied by the lawyer, a problem of his contract, but the problem is not resolved. And you report it, you escalate it to the National Commissioner. Why do you think Matala decided not to proceed directly now to the National Commissioner? Because in your and his evidence, the National Commission, there is no information that tells us that beyond being, after seeing you and being unhappy, proceeded to the main occupant of the office. And why, what is this coincidence of him only coming to complain about his own tender when you are acting?
It's a question that one can ask, but unfortunately, if he came to me when I was acting with the hope that I can sign and approve and give him permission, but because I didn't sign and give him permission, now I cannot explain why he came to me. Mine was just to pass the message to the National Commission. And I could also easily say to him, no, I'm not involved, go see the National Commissioner. But he came with a lawyer in the office. When they came, they presented the problem. I said, all I can do is to transfer the message to, carry the message to the National Commissioner, which I did.
Are you not worried with this seeming coincidence? Matala is a problem, but the problem is only reported to the highest office when you are acting. After you finish acting, there is no trace of Matala, with the problem still unresolved, coming back to the main incumbent and say, I met your acting colleague, my problem was not resolved, I'm back to you. Are you not worried about what that coincidence might suggest to the people of South Africa?
I don't know what other steps he followed thereafter or therefrom. I didn't know. I don't know whether he wrote to Public Works, or whether he wrote to supply chain, or whether he wrote, or what the lawyers did. I'm not aware of that.
Okay. The other coincidence that I would like to check whether does it worry you or it doesn't worry you has to do with the message that is alleged to have been sent by Mr. Brown Mohotsi to Mr. Matala, in which he is telling him about, it's on paragraph 37, he's telling him, it will be 37, I think, of this bundle for us. But he's telling him, I will paraphrase it. He is telling him about the decision taken to disband and that documents are on their way to Sibiya. Are you not worried that there is too much coincidence with the behavior of these people with your name involved? Are you not worried about that?
I am worried about that my name was used. But when you look at that time, it is at the time, I think, where the documents were far from actually being handed over, if I remember very well. And personally, the document where I didn't even know when the documents were actually being exchanged, because I was not part of the exchange of the document. It was between General Ntuli and General Khumalo on the 28th of March.
But then if you are worried, and I would be worried if I was in your position as well, quite honestly. After that message, you have seen Brown Mohotsi more than once. You have never indicated to us, nor in your written submission, that you inform Brown Mohotsi that you are very concerned about his conduct and the usage of your name in a way that places your reputation at the risk. Okay, let me say when you met him in January, you may have not been aware of this. But you have met Brown Mohotsi, you told us yesterday that you said you met him in January and then again a month ago, meaning a month ago from today, he just came to greet and left. You said you were meeting with the evidence leaders, senior evidence leaders, if I'm not mistaken, but he came to greet and then and left.
It was not a month ago, I think 2 months ago.
Yeah.
But it's not like I never asked him as to why did this happen. And it's someone who actually, in a way, denied it or brushed it off. But as far as I'm concerned, it was before even these emails were spoken about. I didn't even know about the email at that time. But what I did discuss with him is that there was a point where we heard that after General Mkhwanazi spoke about it, that there are this email. emails. And to me, it was a cause for concern. Damage was already done at that point in time.
So you raised this concern with him?
I did.
What did you say?
No, he just brushed it off in a sense that, like, no, General, this is not true. And then I'm told that this thing was tampered with. I don't know, but I will follow up.
Okay. Now, when the National Commissioner received or was made aware of the letter from the Minister of Police to disband the PKTT, when he was made aware of that, he said in his documents he got to be aware of this on the 2nd of January, and he was away. And he says, but he did not pay much attention to it because he was on leave. He thought he can deal with it when he comes back. You have said to us, this was a very serious issue for him to simply say, I saw it on social media and I will attend to it when I come back. This was a very serious issue for him to do that. But when he was away, there was an acting national commissioner. Why did you not, given the seriousness of the issue that you wanted the NC to attach to it, why did you not say anything to the acting national commissioner when a matter like this has arisen and their correspondent is coming from the office of the acting national commissioner, because she's the one, he or Musigit is a he. It's a she. She's the one who was in charge. Why nowhere you were saying, I once spoke to the acting national commissioner? Nowhere.
Chair, if correspondence come from the office of the national commissioner, where General Musigit is acting, it's a document that gives me an instruction to proceed from the office of the national commissioner. I take it that it comes from the national commissioner or General Musigit, but it is the same thing.
Can I ask that you allow me to ask just 3 questions? I'm told 3 is the reasonable one. My plea.
Yeah. Every time the stands upright, it means your time is up, but because you have a benevolent chairperson.
Yeah, no, I will be quick. Just 3 questions.
We allow you to ask between 2 and 3 questions.
Okay, I promise you it won't be more than 3. The first one, just very briefly, on the bundles that we have, there's a document that is referred to as SP6, as the other one is SP7.1. Let me tell you what are those documents. SP6 is a document that you said was prepared by the National Commissioner's Office for you to sign, and it does show where you need to sign, but it also shows where he needs to sign. SP 7.1 is where you are now getting that document for the second time, and you told us it did not change, but it now only has a space for you to sign and not the National Commission. How would you respond to someone who says, the reason you did not care that you no longer have to be backed up by your principal is because you were on the rush to execute the instruction to your juniors to proceed with the implementation of the disbandment?
But Chair, if we are fair enough, the minister writes to the National Commission and he gives a directive that this is what must happen. And the National Commissioner does not agree with the minister. That document should not be cascaded further downwards. It should be between the National Commissioner and the minister. It should end there. The National Commissioner must be able to respond. But if the National Commissioner writes in his own affidavit that says, I complied because had I not complied, I was going to be charged for insubordination. So which means the National Commissioner himself complied. Now, the fact that those documents came to me, it means it was now getting for implementation. Otherwise, it was not going to be like that. If the National Commissioner was of the view that he doesn't agree, I was going to return to the minister and say, Minister, I will be responding to you. I acknowledge the receipt of your directive, but I'm preparing an adequate response for you, and which will be sent before this date. And the initial commissioner will be working on a document that gets sent to the minister.
The one before last, Chair, as I said, you made references to a meeting of Mkhwanazi and Masemula to analyze the dockets, because there were, at the time when the dockets are supposed to go, might be going to the Commission of Inquiry. You made a point here that Mkhwanazi and Masemula met because they were not very keen for the document to be submitted to the Commission. Who else was in that meeting, and how did you know about it? Because from what you are saying, they were meeting to conspire on the documents before they are taken to the Commission of Inquiry. Who else was there, and when was that meeting, and where was it?
Remember, I was in constant communication with General Motsepe, because I wanted to know, General, because it was just the day I think I left, or after I was removed, and about the dockets. Because personally, I wanted to know, do we have copies of that iPhone? Do we have copies for these dockets? Can we make copies so that we don't lose track of these dockets? Where are those dockets? Personally, I didn't know where the dockets are, because I had never seen any dockets. Can we make copies now? When I was told that, no, they are coming, because General Particular also came and they wanted to take the dockets. That's when I knew that, okay, there was a meeting with the 10 people or the investigator from KZN, but there was also a meeting with General Makashalala and a certain white brigadier that came to inspect the docket together with General Particular, and they take them to the college where the National Commissioner was based.
Very last one, General, and thanks for your answers. You said to us, you were forced, these are your words, I was forced by the National Commissioner to sign for a financial assistance support for the arrested people. I think those are Lieutenant General Khumalo and others. But this support has not been made available for me.
I don't remember saying I was forced. I said he made me sign. He made me sign the legal assistance for the members. But in my case, I applied, and to date, I haven't been favored with one.
Chair, he answered before the conclusion, because I wanted to know then, General, if you were made to sign for others, now you are not there, somebody's acting in your position. Are you aware if that person is either refusing to sign or is being directed not to sign by a National Commission? That's my last question, Chair. Thank you very much.
My boss is the National Commissioner, and the one who's acting, I don't know if she's the one who can sign, but it is the National, we apply to the National Commission.
Okay, thank you so much, Honorable Skosana. You wanted to make a follow-up, and thanks very much for your patience.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to be short because really the evidence leader wants to speak.
It's a follow-up because
Chair, we